Alrighty, we're up to page 68, lesson 14 of the Roger Hudson Guitar Method. This is the key of F sharp minor. F sharp minor shares the same key signature as A major. The open position or first position F sharp minor scale can be played with a shift to second position, just like we did with A. You're going to shift to second position to play the F sharp, G sharp, and A. Here's the scale in F sharp minor, natural minor form. In F sharp minor, harmonic minor form, you're going to have an E sharp. This is a key to where there are E sharps. Somebody might tell you that an E sharp is just an F. It's not. It's an E sharp. It sounds like an F. It's in the same place as an F, but it's not called an F because in the key of F sharp minor, you already have an F sharp in that key. So you can't have two of the same letter names in your scale and your key. So you have to make an adjustment for the E sharp. The E is going to be the E sharp is the leading tone here to F sharp. So make sure that you're playing an E sharp here. The E sharp will be also right here, and you'll also have an E sharp in the first fret, 6th string. So E sharp, and E sharp. At the bottom of page 68, we have warm-up in F sharp minor. This is basically a study in F sharp minor. This is a good one to memorize if you want to. Then you can use it as a warm-up. It's a good exercise because not only do you have scales in this one, there are also chords. So that's why I call it warm-up in F sharp minor. On page 69, we're going to get into more position shifting. It is important to remember that stringed instruments, including the guitar, can play the same musical phrases in more than one location on the instrument. This allows string players to get a variety of tone colors. The effect can be similar to the difference between two orchestral instruments playing exactly the same notes. Clarinet versus flute, for instance. In order to achieve this timbral tone color contrast, guitarists should become familiar with the entire fingerboard. Acquiring skill at changing positions can build a guitarist's confidence, a necessary trait for a successful performer. In the examples below, an ancient melody known as Leone is used to practice moving from one position to another. At rehearsal letters A and B, the melody is the same but in different positions. At rehearsal letter C, the melody is an octave higher. What I'm illustrating here is that on the guitar you can play the same melody in different places and get a different tone color. I play a little scale passage like this, and I play it up here. Those all have a different tone, or also called timbre. The word timbre is used for tone color. And this is what's unique about the guitar. There are other instruments, piano for example, where you can't do that. String instruments are able to do that. So you get, maybe this is maybe like a trumpet or something. Maybe that's more like a clarinet. Maybe that's even a darker sound, more like maybe like I don't know, more like a cello or something. This exercise on page 69 will help you to learn how to play melodies in different positions. So make sure you pay close attention to the string numbers, the numbers with the circle, the finger numbers. Sometimes this might not make sense to you. I might have a finger number that you wonder why are those fingers where they are. And it has to do with trying to stay in position, and also when you play two notes that are on the same fret, one after another, a lot of times you don't want to be hopping with the same finger when you move from one finger, one string to the next. For example, right here at the very beginning, all right, you want to use 3 and 4 rather than going like this. You could also flatten the finger out like that, but that puts your hand in a position to where you're not on the tips of your fingers. So practice doing that when you go from one string to the next. At letter A, the beginning, it starts on beat 4. And then I show you the positions. It'll say first, second position. I'll show you the positions that you need to shift to. So what I want you to be able to do is to be able to move from one position to another position, and you will, each time you play this melody, you will play it in a different position and starting on different strings. Now, in letter B, we're starting in 6th position, so your first finger is over the 6th fret, and we're going to start on the 6th string. At letter C, we're going to move up to 9th position. The first note is going to be a C sharp. The first note is going to be a C sharp, 4th string, and then you'll go to the 3rd string. Right after that, same fret. So now you're reading in higher positions now. This should help you a lot with learning pieces that go up higher on the fingerboard. On page 70, we have a little duet that I wrote called Beguine and Beijing. A beguine is a type of dance that originated in the Caribbean. You have a basic sort of bass note pattern that's repeated, and the chords are on the offbeat. You might want to go over the shapes. You may want to go over the shapes of the chords before you start playing the piece. I give chord symbols above so that you can sort of get used to seeing what that looks like in a piece of music. A lot of times in classical music, you won't see chord symbols at all. But in this case, I'd like to kind of blend the idea of classical, where you're reading notes, only reading notes, with jazz and popular music where the chord symbols are given, so that if you want to improvise based on the chords, you can. So you know what the chords are. You could even teach somebody how to play this chord progression with different shapes just by telling them what chords that are being played. The Beijing part is sort of a reference to an Asian sound where you have the pentatonic scale. Pentatonic scale is used a lot in Asian music. So in this particular piece, you have sort of a minor pentatonic, an F sharp minor, and so you have second position that you'll need to play the melody, and it goes up to seventh position. So I indicate for you where those position shifts are. Eventually, you'll be able to read higher up on the guitar without having someone tell you what position to play in. You'll be able to tell by the finger numbers, the string numbers. You'll understand by the context of the music where it is that you actually will be playing it. And usually if you can see that the notes are going up higher, like for example when you get down to measure 11 and it goes into seventh position, there's a high C sharp here. There's no way you can play that in first position. So you know when you see some higher notes, you know you're going to be up here on the fingerboard. Pay close attention to finger numbers in this exercise. Make sure that you're in the right place. Some places kind of don't seem to make sense. You're maybe wondering why. On measure 13 to 14, the bottom of page 70. And then I go down here, and I'm doing 2, 3, 4. You may be thinking, well, that's kind of hard. Why can't I just do that? Well, you could, but look at what happens next. What happens right after this is that there's this G sharp right here, the G, so that really puts you in a good position to play that little phrase there. On page 71, notice the endings, first and second ending. Also, just like what we did a while back in Jazzy Weather, you could also improvise on these chords. One person could play the chords and another person could play some improvised melodies. All you need to do is use the F sharp minor scale. A major will also work in this. They're basically the same notes relative to each other. So have some fun with it. I hope you like it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finishing off lesson 14 on page 72 is a solo called Mixed Emotions. There are a lot of bar chords in this one. There are also some surprises when it comes to accidentals and some chords there that you'll need to make sure you pay really close attention to. Also, make sure your bars are really clear. This has a lot of different sort of moods. My students say maybe it's more sad than anything else rather than mixed emotions. There's a sort of a happy part to it. Down at the 5th line it goes into major, which is pretty happy. I guess it is mostly sad. But anyway, I hope you enjoy it. This is another piece where it's important to stay on the tips of your fingers. You'll have some chords that have right here the 3rd line down, 3rd measure of the 3rd line. You really need to make sure you're on the tips of these fingers here. Actually goes like that. So pay close attention to the accidentals.